Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Shocking. ESPN calls Golovkin versus Martirosyan raw sewage. Stay tuned. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, I had to make a video about this. This is shocking to me, and I'm going to explain why. Let me first get through the tweets. Dan Rayfield of ESPN, longtime writer, says, not official yet, but Gennady Golovkin and promoter Tom Loeffler moving towards finalizing a May 5th fight on HBO at the StubHub Center for Triple G versus Martirosyan, a horrendous matchup. He hasn't boxed in 2 years. He's never fought as a middleweight. He's coming off of a loss, etc. And then he put the link to his article, right? Then Dan Rayfield of ESPN says hashtag Triple G Martirosyan equals hashtag raw sewage. And then he tagged HBO. Right? And then he also tweets, and shame on the WBC boxing and WBA for agreeing to sanction Triple G Martirosyan when Vanes hasn't fought for 2 years, is coming off a loss, and is not a middleweight. Hashtag raw sewage. Then he says good chance Triple G will be stripped of the IBF belt for fighting Vanes Martirosyan. Then he says, incredible. Gennady Golovkin promoter Tom Loeffler calls a press conference in Los Angeles, and Golovkin and trainer Abel Sanchez are present, and they announce nothing. They say, quote, nothing is finalized for a May 5th fight. Now, listen, you guys didn't want to listen to me. I told you the walls were closing in on this whole situation. We get it. Canelo messed it up initially, and I think the way Team Triple G's scrambled to find a replacement, I told you they were better off just canceling the fight, because this puts a stain on Triple G right now, because it's one thing your guy cancels, that beyond your control. No one's going to fault Golovkin for Canelo having clenbuterol in this system, but it's an eye-opener to see who Golovkin and team have motioned to fight in lieu of what happened with Canelo. You know what I mean? Guys like Jaime Munguia, who the world doesn't really know, a 21-year-old who was in the 140-pound weight divisions, I guess is a new middleweight now, only 21, no significant names on his resume. Gary Spike O'Sullivan, okay, he's coming off of a decent win versus Antoine Douglas, but that Antoine Douglas had been stopped by Curtice. You know what I mean? And I don't know if he's ever been the same since that. But Spike O'Sullivan is a guy who also got knocked out by Chris Eubank Jr., who recently lost at 168 to George Groves. And he also lost to Billy Joe Saunders, who he would later become a sparring partner and work with, right? These aren't huge fights. Now, what made this whole situation worse is that you had credible, actual middleweights with an undefeated record like Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. He's had more activity than Vanes Martirosyan. In fact, at 154, he beat Vanes Martirosyan. Vanes Martirosyan ain't fought since May 2016, which, to put in perspective, is the same month that Canelo knocked out Amir Khan. And Amir Khan's fighting this weekend against Phil LaGreco, and he's been out over 2 years with surgeries, and he hasn't fought since then. And that's why he's coming back to a Phil LaGreco as opposed to Errol Spence or Keith Thurman or Kell Brook type of fight, because he hasn't fought in so long. So I'm to believe that Vanes Martirosyan coming off of the couch for 2+ years is a great fight, even as a last-minute replacement. No experience at 160 and coming off a loss. I mean, I'm not really with it. And I told you guys the walls are closing in with this whole Golovkin situation. It was shocking. You had guys like Demetrius Andrade, obviously Sergey Derevyanchenko, the IBF mandatory for Golovkin. Bob Arum offered up Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez at 168. Billy Joe Saunders says, hey, I won't be ready for May 5th, but I got me pinned. I got me pinned. I'll fight you in June or July. So this summer. And you see Team Triple G still pressing for May 5th. Like, listen, the May 5th Cinco de Mayo, I understand it's history. And Floyd was able to fight in those dates. Canelo, Oscar, Julio Cesar Chavez, right? But Golovkin doesn't have, I mean, despite the coined phrase Mexican style and all that, he's not of Mexican heritage. So he doesn't really have to fight on those dates, especially if you can't find a suitable opponent or somebody like with more momentum and more accolades at middleweight than Vanes Martirosyan. You know what I'm saying? Vanes is a good fighter, but has losses. He lost to Jermell Charlo. He lost to Erislandy Lara. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went to war with Willie Nelson. So, I mean, just all things considered, it's not a great fight. Now, the reason it's shocking, and I'm bringing ESPN's Dan Rayfield, his tweets into this, is because I'm just going to keep it a buck. I mean, new media, I've been telling you guys what it is. And there's oftentimes where old media and, you know, people in Dan Rayfield, we don't agree on things. You know what I mean? The guys they advocate for or promote and give a lot of attention to and exposure, like the Can't Do No Wrong crew, right? I disagree with it. And I'm like, man, you should be showing some of that love to Terrence Crawford, but they'll be showing it to Lomachenko and Triple G and Chocolatito. I'm like, man, spread that love to Errol Spence. He's doing, you know what I mean? So the thing that's shocking is this fight is so bad that you have Dan Rayfield calling it horrendous. And Dan Rayfield has been very loyal, and he's been, I guess, very favorable. Every time I see him talk about Triple G, I never seen him say anything bad about Triple G. I don't think I've ever up until this point, you know, but there are people like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, where I see him putting snarky tweets and Erislandy Lara and, hey, my kids need to go to sleep and I'm going to put on a Rigondeaux fight and Erislandy Lara helps me go to bed. It's time for bed. I'm just going to watch a Lara fight, which, by the way, Lara just had an epic Fight of the Year contender with Jared Hurd. So obviously he can mix it up as he sees fit. But that's the things that I've seen from Dan Rayfield. And I never seen any of that same energy that he gave to Floyd, Andre Ward, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Erislandy Lara, and guys like that. I never seen him give that same type of energy for Triple G fighting Willie Monroe or Adama or anything like that. So to see Triple G possibly fight a Vanes Martirosyan, and you're getting that type of feedback from a guy who's always been very polite and supportive of all things Golovkin, that's crazy. That's how you know new media is winning. When old media can't even do nothing but admit that this is not the greatest fight, right? He says it's horrendous, it's raw sewage. So, for example, when I was at I remember I've covered like Andre Ward's last 5 or 6 fights in a row before he retired, right? And I covered Alexander Brand, and I remember distinctly ESPN's Dan Rayfield, he says that Ward versus Brand was the worst fight HBO has ever showed, or the worst fight in boxing history, and he used that same term. He called it raw sewage. So now he's actually spreading the love to Golovkin's raw sewage fight. You know what I mean? Which is a crazy look because, like I said, I've always seen him kind of take shots at certain guys. Like I said, Mayweather, Rigondeaux, Ward, and stuff like that. But never been very critical. I don't remember him being very critical of a Gennady Golovkin fight where he's just outright being like, boom, boom, boom. It's a horrendous fight, raw sewage. Shame on the WBA and IBF for sanctioning this fight. He might get stripped. I've never seen, they got a press conference and didn't announce anything. I've never seen him report this way. So I got to give him props. I give props to Dan Rayfield.